Around the world, citizens took to the streets to express their support for the Venezuelan people and condemn the U.S. imperialist pretensions of the Bolivarian Republic and the Latin American region. And U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents shot and killed another person in Minneapolis. And the Russian Ministry of Defense launched a massive attack against a Ukrainian drone warehouse located in the Kiev region. Welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. In Austria, citizens took to the streets to express their support for the Venezuelan people and condemn the U.S. imperialist pretensions over the Bolivarian Republic and the Latin American region. In Vienna, in front of the Venezuelan embassy, people joined the Solidarity Day of protest in support of Venezuela with a clear message: stop U.S. imperialist aggression in Latin America and down with the U.S. and EU economic blockade. Social movements demand respect for the preservation of Latin America and the Caribbean as a zone of peace. People worldwide have condemned the U.S. attacks and demand respect for the sovereignty and self-determination of the Venezuelan people. Also this Saturday, South Africans called upon by the National Union of Metal Workers of South Africa marched to the U.S. consulate in Johannesburg to demand the release of President Nicolas Maduro and First Lady and Deputy Celia Flores. Protesters also called for the immediate end to U.S. aggression and blockade against Venezuela. They condemn as well the military actions promoted by the Donald Trump administration with the aim of taking over Venezuela's natural resources. And in Venezuela, acting President Delcy Rodriguez launched a program for coexistence and peace with the goal of holding an immediate meeting with all political sectors in the country. The meeting was intended to strengthen peace in Venezuela, unify political and social actors to move forward in a single direction in which the nation is prioritized. Rodriguez indicated that the intention is to eradicate social, political and economic expressions that incite hatred, as these have led to very dangerous situations for the country. She also said that next Monday, January 26, she will be in contact with the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights to discuss the implementation of policies based on respect and justice for the Venezuelan people.
Hacer un plan de 100 días.
Make a 100-day plan. The first 100 days of this plan, this program for coexistence and peace, the first task will be to map political, economic and social violence and hatred in Venezuela.
Hay que hacer un arqueo, ver dónde estamos.
We need to take stock to know where we stand in the community, where there is peace, where there is justice, neighborhood justice. Where are we? Where are we starting from? From an unprecedented external economic aggression, which this republic had never known before,
Que nunca había conocido esta república, pero que la hemos vivido desde el año 2015.
Which we have been experiencing since 2015 with the imposition of unilateral coercive measures, sanctions, illegal sanctions, but which exist in Venezuela and have created a tremendous burden on the country's economy and have also caused significant social wounds in our homeland.
Heridas sociales en nuestra.
Venezuela will request the United Nations to verify the list of persons deprived of their liberty in order to disprove misinformation campaigns.
Con cifras, a través de la mentira, de la falsaria.
With figures cutting through lies and falsehoods. On Monday, I will have a phone conversation with United Nations Human Rights High Commissioner Volker Turk. We'll ask him to have his office verify the lists of those released from prison in Venezuela.
Las listas de excarcelados en Venezuela. Ya basta de mentir.
Enough with the lies, enough with lying to the Venezuelan people. It has cost us dearly, for our children, for our youth. We had to suffer the horror of an external military
Para
aggression.
quienes tuvieron que sufrir el horror de una agresión militar.
Enough is enough. No more lies to our country. There must be responsibility in the exercise of politics. And yesterday I called for the reinstitutionalization of the exercise of politics. Enough of lying to our people through social media,
Basta de mentirle a nuestro pueblo a través de las redes
through
sociales.
algorithms that seek to sow lies, violence, hatred, and death. That is how it has been. It was presented that way by the owners of the big social media algorithms before the United States Congress.
De las redes sociales ante el Congreso de los Estados Unidos.
Venezuela's Minister of Defense, Vladimir Padrino Lopez, assured that the Bolivarian National Armed Forces are consolidating their role as guarantors of peace, independence, and sovereignty. The Minister of Defense highlighted the strategic patience and perseverance of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces in defending the Constitution and democratic principles. Padrino Lopez also recalled the events of January 3rd, when military forces of the United States government violated Venezuelan sovereignty by killing more than 100 people, including civilian and military victims. He also emphasized that the Bolivarian National Armed Forces responded with cohesion, republican virtue, and unity together with the people, preserving social peace, internal order, and the constitutional continuity of the state. And the Minister of Defense, Vladimir Padrino Lopez, affirmed that the Bolivarian National Armed Forces build their own glory adapted to current geopolitical realities.
It's about sacrifice done in the past, seeing it through today's eyes.
Verlo hoy, en medio de circunstancias geopolíticas.
In the midst of national and global geopolitical circumstances, in the midst of a realignment of the world order,
del orden mundial, en medio de nuevas realidades.
Amidst new realities, as I said yesterday, regarding what the war phenomenon embodies today.
En medio de esas nuevas realidades, esas fechas.
Amidst these realities, history serves as an example.
Y además, nos invitan, como siempre lo he dicho,
and it also invites us, as I have always said, not to be satisfied with the glories of the past.
Los hombres y mujeres de la Fuerza Armada Nacional Bolivariana en el siglo XXI.
We, the men and women of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces in the 21st century, are building our own glory, and history will take note.
Y quedará para la historia.
In El Salvador, on Saturday, there will be a memorial service and flower offering from the mausoleum of the late Commander Shafiq Hamdal, leader, founder of the Communist Party, and the Farabundo Martí National Liberation Front. 20 years after the death of the revolutionary who suffered a heart attack upon arriving at Comalapa International Airport from Bolivia for participating in the inauguration of President Evo Morales, the FMLN party is trying to keep his legacy alive. Hamdal's family will be absent because they are outside the country due to political persecution. We now have a first break coming up. Remember, you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you'll find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We're going to be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. In the United States, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents shoot and kill another person in Minneapolis. According to local media, the man killed by federal agents was at a protest against Donald Trump's government policies. After the incident, about 100 protesters are gathered in Minneapolis demanding that the police arrest the federal immigration agents involved in the shooting. The protest is being heavily repressed with tear gas. Similarly, there was tension between U.S. citizens and federal agents due to several reported cases of excessive force by immigration agents against the public during raids. According to the Minneapolis Police Department, the murdered citizen was 37-year-old.
Based on the information that we have, which is very limited, this is a 37-year-old white male who is a Minneapolis resident, and we believe he is an American citizen.
International analyst Danny Shaw highlights that the United States invades other countries while its own country is engulfed in chaos.
If it were another country, the United States would surely have already invaded it. It's chaos here. There's a polarization of society here. ICE has killed people, and we don't know the details about the police. Right now, another homicide is being reported, another murder of a protester. The ICE agents think they're invincible. Many are racist or denigrate immigrants, and they're taking them to the most racist states, which now have a presence in Minnesota, and they're not afraid to use violence.
An international analyst Danny Shaw warns that the United States intends to provoke chaos and division to justify the cancellation of new elections in the country.
That's Trump's plan. What he wants is to cause more division. He wants to provoke chaos to justify seizing power and taking over the more liberal or democratic states. And if he can continue to sow chaos, then he can justify not having elections in November of this year, or into years. Entonces él puede justificar que no haya elecciones en noviembre de este año o en 2 años. As was planned in the last presidential elections. All of that is part of the plan, not just Trump's. He's just the tip of the spear, but the ruling class that has gathered in Davos, Switzerland, wants to take over Venezuela, which kidnapped the president, or the war against Iran, that is going to start at any moment. Que se quiere adueñar de Venezuela, que secuestró al presidente. Una guerra contra Irán que se va a iniciar en cualquier momento. 100 millones de iraníes no pueden dormir. 100 million Iranians can't sleep well at night because of that fear. All of that is part of it, and we can complain about Trump, but it's all part of a plan, a branch of a ruling class to seize the world's wealth and annihilate any resistance. Riqueza del mundo y aniquilar cualquier resistencia.
Indonesia's National Disaster Management Agency reported that at least 8 people died and more than 80 are missing after a landslide caused by rains. The Weather Service stated that the disaster occurred at around 2:30 a.m. local time in the province of West Java. It announced that it is continuing with manual excavation operations using water pumps and drones to inspect the affected areas. The agency also reported that more than 240,000 hectares of primary forests have been lost due to mining and plantation activities, which deprives the soil of its ability to absorb rain. And on Friday, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for multilateral cooperation to speed up development and increase participation of developing countries in global financial institutions. At a special event to mark the 80th anniversary of the Economic and Social Council, Guterres focused his address on the vitality of multilateralism for the global economic relations. ECOSOC, one of the 6 principal bodies of the United Nations, aims to foster inclusive dialogue, forge commitments, promote coordinated action, and mobilize financing. The UN Secretary General stressed that multilateralism is under strain amid military conflicts, growing inequalities, and global warming, and that the agency must help developing countries move up global supply chains.
So let us renew our commitment to safeguarding rights and speeding up development through multilateral cooperation. ECOSOC is an indispensable platform for global dialogue and action. Together we can bridge the development divides, we can harness innovation for inclusion and inequality, and we can build a world anchored in peace, justice, and shared prosperity.
Now for our second break coming up. Before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English, you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final break, don't go away. Welcome back. On Thursday, South Korea became the first country to formally enact legislation regulating the use of artificial intelligence, including specific provisions for deep fakes. The country, home to microprocessor giants, announced its aspiration to join the United States and China as one of the three major AI powers. The law requires companies to notify users when their products or services use generative AI. It also stipulates that they must clearly label content, including deep fakes, that cannot easily be distinguished from reality, passed in December 2024. The law aims to establish a secure and reliable foundation to support AI innovation, according to a statement from the South Korean Ministry of Science and ICT. And on Friday, authorities announced that Chinese rescue teams had retrieved 17 Filipino crew members from a shipwreck in the South China Sea. Of those rescued, 15 were in stable condition, while 2 were found dead. As of Friday evening, 4 others remain missing. At 12:46 a.m. Friday, the cargo ship Devon Bay lost contact in waters about 55 nautical miles northwest of Huangyongdao while en route from the Philippines to the Southern Guangdong province. The ship had 21 Filipino crew members on board. The last contact with the ship was at 9:26 p.m. on Thursday. Contact was lost after that, and the ship's emergency beacon later sent out an alarm signal. Multiple international commercial vessels joined the search operation. The Russian Ministry of Defense launched a massive attack against a Ukrainian drone warehouse located in the Kiev region. On Saturday, the Russian offensive struck the long-range drone factory and energy infrastructure used by Ukraine. The military said the attack was carried out with high-precision land-based weapons in response to terrorist acts by the Kiev regime. At the same time, Russian forces liberated the town of Staritsa in the province of Kharkiv, a region occupied by Ukrainian troops. And the Russian army also carried out an attack on energy facilities used for the benefit of the Ukrainian military and industrial sectors with the aim of counteracting their forces. In this context, they specified that the objective were successfully achieved and did not result in any major incidents. In response to Kiev's war actions, Moscow resumed its attacks on energy facilities. The United Nations Special Rapporteur on Palestine, Francesca Albanese, has described Israel's demolition of the UNRWA headquarters in Al-Quds as an attack on the United Nations system. In a statement issued on Friday, the UN Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories expressed her dismay at the ongoing destruction carried out by the Israeli government without any restrictions. She also lamented the systematic dismantling of the United Nations and international law, a process that is unfolding before the world's eyes. Last Tuesday, Israeli forces stormed the UNRWA headquarters in East Jerusalem's Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood and demolished the compound using bulldozers and heavy machinery.
It's not that this is the first genocide that is been known. No, the whole of...
And ahead of the final round of voting in a controversial Myanmar general election this weekend, voting stations have been set up. 2 rounds of voting have been completed, and the final round will take place on Sunday when people in 61 townships will cast their ballots. This election comes nearly 5 years after the military overthrew Aung San Suu Kyi elected government, triggering an ongoing civil war that has ravaged much of the country. Meanwhile, critics argue that these elections are intended to give the military government, which took control in February 2021, a facade of legitimacy. For many people, this is the first time voting, and they view it as an opportunity to guide the country toward peace. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. So join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.